beep, beep. Murph, are you worried? Throw it away.
Well,
throw it in the Hudson. Throw it in the Chesapeake Bay.
I'm worried about, like, listen, I have a lot of money tied up in Big Pager, so, I know the Fed just fucking, like, lowered interest rates and everything, but, I mean, what's this going to do to Motorola stock? What's happened in the Middle East here? I need to know as we move forward and through the weekend. Like, should I move my money around? I just don't know. Dude, what the Israelis did is, look, politics aside, one of the most amazing covert operations fucking tactics that I've ever fucking witnessed in my entire life. It would almost be less believable if it was in a fucking Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movie. That's fucking amazing. Like, are you aware of the details of what they fucking pulled off?
No. I saw a TikTok you sent me. What are they can now blow your phone up?
No. Here's what happened. So, pagers are still made, and they're still made in Taiwan, just like everything that's plastic and worthless. And they intercepted this shipment of pagers that were supposed to be going to all these Hezbollah fucking, like, incels or whatever, who were, like, all hanging out in Lebanon right now. And what they did, they intercepted all these pagers, and they have, like, these little, like, I'm just going to dumb it down, like, little AAA batteries inside of them, right? They took one, there's two of them. They took one of these little batteries out and replaced it with a device which conducts electricity, but also explodes. And they fucking repackaged them, let them go along their merry way to where they were going. All these fucking quote-unquote freedom fighters in Lebanon got their fucking new pagers because they're worried because Israel has fucked up some of their leadership by tapping into their fucking cell phones. So, like, hey, let's do this. Let's get some really dumb technology from the 90s because why would they fucking tap into that shit? And so they intercepted these pagers, put these explosive devices in them, let them be fucking sent to where they were going. All these dudes put them on their hip or in their front pocket. And then about 3 p.m. 2 days ago, but now 3,000 of them hurt, 12 people died, 3,000 injured. And there's just videos all over the X. And it's just fucking like people's hips exploding or their balls being blown off.
I was going to say, do you have any dick and ballless guys now? Do you have any dick and ballless Lebanese men?
Yeah. 100%.
Like, what's it from Woody Harrelson and Thin Red Line? Like, I blew my dick off. I can't make love no more. I can't make love no more.
Look, again, politics aside, like, as far as covert operations are concerned, that's got to be one of the most, like, creative and wild, amazing things that I think I've ever heard of. Like, strategically, from a military perspective, like, that's one of the most amazing things I've ever heard of. Like, that's something that's written in a script that you may not believe is humanly possible. The fact that they got to almost 3,000 fucking people injured. And you know what they say, Wes? Know your enemy. Well, your enemy has a very, very drastic limp now.
That's right. I've read that. Okay, so they abandoned cell phones because they were easily tapped or monitored. And they went to an old school technology, as you mentioned. A la Christ. Now that you got my mind going on this is like when we humans are trying to communicate in Independence Day via the Americans Morse code. Beep, 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 beep. Is it you send a Randy Quaid crazy motherfucker who used to do crop dusting in an F-16 right into the belly of that bitch. But you're saying they intercepted the fucking pagers, replaced their AAA battery with, I guess, I don't know, an explosive AAA battery.
Yeah, like a C4 battery.
Dicks and balls are rendered useless.
Yes.
In the name of war. Wow.
Yes. Look, bottom line is they're like, listen, U.S., us, we're like, listen, you can't go in there. You can't slaughter these guys, okay? We know they did some shit to you about a year ago, and you're still pissed off about it. But look, man, you got to back down a little bit. And they're like, okay, fine. We'll back down. Okay, we won't do anything. Boop, boop. Look, man, again, low-level explosive. You mark the beast. If you're at war and you want to know who you're fighting, they just fucking figured it out. Look, man, we've seen some wild shit in our lives. We're in our 40s. We've seen the fall of the Berlin Wall. We've seen look, man, fucking storming Norman Schwarzkopf. It was like, hey, man, listen, for the last 30 years, we've been working on some shit. And how would you like to kick the tires and light a whole bunch of fires out in the Middle East there, Norm? All right, let's see what we can do. We saw that shit live on TV. We watched 9/11 happen. We watched most of the war in Afghanistan because everybody started getting GoPros around that time. The internet popped up around that time. We have seen some crazy shit. It's hard to impress this generation with something like newfangled and outside the box. And I gotta say, Mossad, you pulled it off. And I look, I would even say like some guy in like Hezbollah, fucking Hamas is probably like this. Yeah, fuck you, but fuck you. Fuck you, man. Well played. I give you credit, but well done. Good job. We're gonna come get you. We're coming for you. But that was well played.
Yeah. Make sure your women's dildos are well equipped. Pussies are gonna explode, literally.
Oh man, So I was. It's sad to say. Look, this is the world we live in. I'm sorry to say that I was entertained by this for the last couple of days, but it has been on my mind that it's just. You and I could sit here and craft like a movie script. This is the opening scene. This is where it starts, and people be like, "Bullshit! You can't do that." We stand corrected.
You watch too many Michael Bay movies. You watch too much. You read too much Thin Red Line. Right? Who wrote that? Was it?
I don't know who wrote that. I don't know who directed that either. I remember watching it and thinking like, this is fucking boring as shit, man. Like, I get it. War sucks. It's mentally fucking frustrating. Yada yada yada. But move on.
The guy who wrote that was a minority owner of the Orioles for a while. He wrote Clear and Present Danger.
Oh, Tom Clancy. That was
That's
a
right.
Clancy.
There you
That was
go.
a Clancy. That was a Clancy movie.
I thought Clancy wrote Hunt for Red October. He didn't direct or produce it. He just
You said
it was
Thin
based
Red
off the
Line.
adaptation. Did I say Thin Red Line?
Yeah, that's why.
No,
Yeah, no. Hunt for
Yeah,
Red
he didn't write
October. That's fun. That's a good movie. That's a
Yeah,
movie
but
where
okay, what I'm saying
Russian-
is you read these fanatical war movies, and then that they became like you're normal. God, no one's putting a fucking explosive in a goddamn pager. God, what are you watching? Michael Bay movies?
Well, I mean, you could intercept. I'm sure you could intercept the shipment, but then the fact that there's a bunch of dudes in a basement, fucking like cracking open fucking Motorola pagers and replacing a battery with a fucking stick of C4 and sending them back along their merry way, like it just doesn't seem like something that's possible in the 21st century. And here we are.
We didn't we do a bit on where Ukraine was dropping turd bombs via drones on
No,
Russians?
that was North Korea was dropping poop balloons on South Korea.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Little turd aerial assault, yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of pales in comparison when you kind of put the two side by side. Like, one's fun and jovial, the other one's like, tip of the cap and a salute. Like, well played, boys. I just, no, I mean, and we look at where warfare has come. Dude, I feel so bad for those fucking Russian. Look, I know we're at war with Russia. This is where I'm going to kind of like divide the line here. Just saying,
Okay.
Humans looking at human activities. I feel bad for these Russian guys running from these drones and fields. Finally, one of them figured it out. He was being attacked by one of these drones with these explosives on it, and he ended up throwing his rifle at it, and it blew it up. He was trying
to blow up before it gets to you, yeah.
Yeah, but now he's rifleless, and he's in a field somewhere, and I have a hunch that there's another drone somewhere. I mean, it's just getting...
I bet you he wishes he had a pager. This will get me out of this.
911.
Give my coordinates. Yeah. I had some weed, but I smoked it because I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Golly day, man. And again, we got our own political issues here in the States, man, but it is nothing compared to what's going on, far, far away from here. And thank God for that. I will say, just thank God for we're not dealing with those particular issues here. But no, I just
So wait, political issues here in the states like what? What do we have going on?
I mean, I don't know, nothing that big. Just apparently a presidential election that's just gone off the fucking rails all over the place. By the way,
2 months.
Is it only 2 months? Is that it?
It's like November something or other.
Somewhere, I will say this just to be safe, somewhere between November 3rd and November 9th. Yeah, we're gonna be pulling our something for somebody or touching something or bubbling something. I still don't get that. Like, why it's not like a universal thing. Like, we all just do the same thing. Remember when Iraq finally got the vote and everybody just literally dipped their thumb in some ink and was like,
okay, so I laugh about that because I was actually joking around. You know what? I'm going to tell you something. I was joking around to myself the other night because I was drinking by myself when I had COVID, and I had no one else to joke around about with. So I was like telling stories amongst myself like a fucking sociopath. But I voted in the 2000 election for the first time when I was 18 for about 5 weeks, which, listen, I get it. It's the way the chips fell. That's the way it happened. I had no business voting. I walked into that fucker probably stoned, not knowing. I was like, yeah, I mean, we got Bush, Gore, whoo-wee. What's going to happen? Don't know. I know who I voted for, but it's neither here nor there. But, no, this was like one of those big pulley machines. I kind of thought I was fucking it up. So, all right, and then when you pull here, when you're done, you pull it and it resets everything and the curtains open like you're fucking Johnny Carson in the Tonight Show. And I was like, oh my God, I hope I did that correctly. I hope I did it right. If not, they have an exploding pager in there somewhere. They're going to get to me.
But I've never understood this. Like, speaking of the Bush Gore thing, like the hanging Chad.
Right.
Chad.
The way it was explained to me was it was a punch card, and the way the line that you could vote for wasn't exactly staggered correctly. So people who said they were voting presumably for one of the candidates, they didn't know it. And
not just that.
So then
you had a like I don't know, like a number 5, like fucking, what are the grades? Like the paper grades on card stock. You had some like grade 3 card stock with some holes that were perforated, and you had to take a fucking fake pencil and try to punch one of them out, and you always get that one that hangs with that last perforation. Because no one can do that properly. I don't care who you are. You gotta rip it off the back, and then it fucking peels, and you're like, God damn, ruined the card. And that's how we voted for the most powerful human being in the world.
24 years ago. This is not...
I just feel like
to some people, relatively speaking, that's a long time ago. To you and it is, but not really.
But I remember watching the footage, just thinking like, wow, I had a pencil. I had a pencil and I bubbled it in. Or you and me at the time in Cecil County, like, because I remember back then they were like trying the 2 ways. I remember bubbling in, and then they still had the old like fucking like just made of pure steel, like with gears inside.
That's what I voted for, and it was like a 1,200-pound typewriter.
Yes,
that's what I remember. It is. It was like, and then it was. I was almost intimidated to vote for local stuff and state stuff. I was like, I don't know. That just seemed. That was like a heavy lift right there. God, my anxiety's through the roof. Don't know if I could vote anymore. And I did, but then you did the pulley like I'm done, and it reset the entire system, and it made this big fucking noise, and then the curtains popped open like it was the fucking Wizard of Oz. Okay, the entire world sees you now. Okay, hi everybody.
Yeah.
Okay,
but not just that. whatever happened, that 5-ton phone booth that you walked into, like legitimately and fully and completely filled out your card for you, fucking put perforations in it, whatever it had to do, and there was a fucking paper trail that you could count later if it came down to that. It wasn't some old lady with a fucking putt-putt golf pencil trying to stick it through a fucking hole that was misaligned. You know what I mean?
Did you hit a hole in one, or did you vote for Gore? Which one was it?
Is he the nice boy with the good hair? Which I don't remember.
The one who invented the internet, or the one who owns the Rangers? Which one?
Exactly. And you know what? There were some dire consequences, one way or the other. And I mean, you can split the difference there, but you know, I will always say, again, not to be political. This is apolitical. I will always say one of the greatest lines of a president of all time is W on top of the rubble saying, "Well, I can hear you, and soon enough, the people that knock these buildings down are gonna hear all of us soon." I'm like, fuck. Hair on your balls, standing at fucking attention, saluting at the fucking red, white, and blue, baby. Good God Almighty.
Then he went out for a World Series game and threw a strike.
He threw a fucking
Only a
curveball.
commander, fucking Chief Ken, man. Stood up on he didn't sit on the flat ground. He went to the rubber. Fucking bail.
You know that was all because of Derek Jeter too, right?
Yeah, he did. I've heard that. I've heard that he consulted with Jeter a little bit on how to. Now he was a baseball player. His old man played college ball.
Well, Jeter came up to him while he was getting ready. Again, he had a fucking bulletproof vest on, everything. And it's like, you throw him from the mound? He's like, man, I mean, I'm just going to throw where they tell me to throw from. He's like, you don't throw from the mound in New York, they're going to boo you. Like, fuck, all right. Fuck, all right. Dude, watch that video, man. He throws a fucking curveball and just fucking, and just.
Well, I don't know about a curveball. I think
It's curveball.
It's
a curveball.
I think it's just a fastball that gravity got a hold of. But okay, fair enough.
Something else wild we witnessed in our lifetime is George W. Bush dodging two shoes at a fucking press conference in the fucking middle of a foreign country. Like, oh, just laughing at the guy, too. It's amazing.
That's right.
God damn, man. But yeah, those fucking, dude, that shit, fucking pager bombs, whatever, man. Those guys need to start writing for Hollywood. The Jews need to go to Hollywood.
There's already 3/4 of the script done. This thing is already in the print. The other thing I wanted to ask you about tonight, Ohtani, Shohei Ohtani, the first player ever 50-50. I remember the first one to 40-40. Do you remember who that was?
Henderson?
No, he never hit 40 home runs.
Okay. Shit, 40.
Think of the same team.
The A's, was it McGuire?
No,
that
didn't
fast,
steal 40
though.
bases.
Fuck, I don't know, Wes. How about that? There's my answer.
Canseco.
Canseco did it?
First person to 40-40.
Jose Canseco stole 40 bases.
He did, yeah.
They just leaned forward and let his fucking body mass propel him into second base. Jesus Christ.
Well, I think when you're hopped up on enough Ben Johnson steroids, the big fucking 4-centimeter syringe that goes right into your ass, everything falls into place. Your hamstrings included. Yeah, he was the first 40-40 guy. I think it was 1988. I'm trying to remember this well because he did that and he admitted to being on steroids years later. And the Red Sox outfielder Mike Greenwell was like, "Oh, well, then I should win. Everyone was like, "Hey, listen,
simmer down,
pump the brakes there, buddy."
Dude, okay. So here's my question though for you, as a tried and true sports fan that really gets deep into it. Do you think that Major League Baseball protected Ohtani because they knew what he was capable of going into this season, and with the whole betting thing and all that jazz? Do you think that was something that they were like, look, we gotta butter our bread here, and let's just let's get a fall guy? Because I feel like players, look at Bauer, right? that guy was like exonerated from all the shit, and they're still not letting him back into the league. Not that,
Right.
but he's not the
Well-
player. He's not the player that Shohei Ohtani is.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing about Bauer is, whether you agree or disagree, is that he's a clubhouse cancer. Okay, he's a total prima donna, and he's an asshole. And for a lot of like organizations, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. They're like, yeah, he's a good pitcher. He's not a great pitcher, and whether you agree with that or not, he's just like, he creates more havoc than he does, like, that's worth the winning. With Ohtani, yes, I agree with you to an extent. I just don't think he was gambling. I think because the guy stole money from him. Now, whether or not, what do you think? Do you think he was like, "Hey, bet this money"?
I don't know. I think it was. My opinion is like, we're buddies. I got a lot of money. Like, let's just have some fun. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it was like. I don't know if it was necessarily him pulling the strings, but I feel like lesser athletes would have gotten banned for the association. Period.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm willing to go that. I'm willing to go that far. I haven't seen enough evidence to suggest that he was directly tied to it, considering that that guy also. Okay, maybe it's like. If not, then like that analogy you use about like, if then why not? Because it came up that he had stolen money from him. So
But the thing is when that came up though, that was after the fact, and they were still like buddies and chummy in the fucking like the dugout. Like,
so
like,
my point is that, in all likelihood, Ohtani was probably using him to sports gamble. Then this guy was like, "Holy shit, I have access to millions of dollars. I'm just stealing it, and he won't fucking know." And then he found out. It was like, "Oh, okay, it was me." And then he was the fall guy.
because I can see it being like, listen, they're gonna send you back to Japan, and you're still gonna have access to my bank account. So get the fuck out of here. I'm gonna go steal 50 bases and hit 50 home runs, and everybody's gonna forget about it by next year. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And then I'll be pitching, and I'm gonna win the Cy Young, and nobody's gonna care. Nobody's even gonna remember this. I mean, that's the other thing that people have to remember about Ohtani is next year, his fucking Tommy John fucking fixed arm is gonna be ready to throw heaters. I mean, Jesus God. Like, so this year, he becomes like what? One of the greatest fucking, what do you call that? Offensive players potentially of all time. And then
Suppose, I mean, there's pundits who say he doesn't, because he doesn't play a defensive position. But I mean, boo fucking who? In my opinion, I mean, you just, there's been no 45 person.
right,
Think about that.
right.
So he's doing something that's not only not been done. It's like the milestone is a long way away. Now, yeah, the bases are bigger and there's like the pickoff move type thing, but
Okay, to anybody that makes that argument that he doesn't play a defensive position, you're telling me the guy that can hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases, he can't catch a ball. By the way, he pitches, so he also can't throw the ball from the outfield to the infield too accurately. Like, what are you talking about?
That's the thing is, the only reason he's not playing a defensive position is because he can't, as of right now, medically can't. Because next year when he pitches, he's going to play right field. At least some, not a lot, but a little bit. He's not incapable. He's not a Gold Glove right fielder, but he's a really, really good right fielder.
I have a feeling a guy who can steal 50 bases can maybe cover some ground in the outfield. Just call it a hunch.
Got some gap coverage. Has some
Potentially.
some defensive adjustments, whether or not how dorky you want to get on the metrics.
I mean, I'm willing to accept arguments. That's what I'm saying.
No, he can get there. He just gets nervous about catching the ball.
And then the guy who could also, potentially win a Cy Young award as a pitcher. I'm just saying he might be able to throw some guys out at home plate, round and third. I'm just saying I'm not saying it's a thing. I'm just saying it's potentially a thing.
Oh God, have we introduced ourselves? Middle class holes, Murr, Allen. No, Alan. Sorry, Murr, Foxman. No, Alan. Hey, folks, we got a special guest for you coming up from the Driveway Beers podcast. Alex is joining us. Actually, I didn't realize this. He's been hitting us up since March, and we've been like, yeah. We'll get you on. We'll get you on. And finally, we're just like, hey, we got to get this guy on, right?
And then he said, "Yeah, I'm ready." So he'll be here.
It's been the better part of a year. There's been nothing holding us up. All right, folks, stand by. Alex from the the Driveway Beers podcast is going to be joining the Middle Class Holes.
We aren't doctors, but we'd love to take a look at some more of the Middle Class Holes.
And welcome back to the Middle Class Holes, Foxman and Murr. No Alan this evening. That's all right, riding. But we do have a guest joining us from the Driveway Beers podcast. We have Alex. Alex, thank you for jumping on.
Appreciate you having me, guys.
So I guess for anyone who's not familiar with your podcast or would like to tune in, I guess give your quick elevator pitch about the content, maybe a little background to how you got started and how it morphed into what you have today.
Yeah. So my co-host Mike and I, we started this out of COVID, back when everyone had to stand 6 feet apart from each other. We kind of took it upon ourselves in our neighborhood to kind of get together at basically our kids' tot lot, and the kids would go and play, and we would have some beers, and we would basically talk across the fence from the tot lot to the neighbor's driveway. And so our original logo was two guys talking over a fence, and we called it the Dumb Idea Podcast because we didn't think we had a shot of doing this for more than like 2 months. But essentially the podcast is the conversations we were having over the fence. And at the time, everything was so politicized right and left, and we were all kind of in the middle. You had like your Second Amendment guy who also was universal healthcare proponent. So he doesn't really fit in a box, and that's where we kind of were, and there weren't any shows for us at the time. And so that's the kind of angle we took it at. We started off a little political, and then we just started going anything we liked. So we ended up talking about aliens, adult hobbies, which because we put adult hobbies in the title, everyone went to go listen to it, thinking it was about porn.
Oh, yeah.
It had nothing to do with porn whatsoever. But we basically just started talking about everything, and we actually found it to be pretty therapeutic for us just to keep talking about stuff that we found important to us. And we're just, we're two average guys that live in the suburbs that have thoughts and feelings on some stuff, and we share it with people. And this in the past 3 to 4 months, we brought Jeremy Kahn is on our show as a special guest. He doesn't. He comes when he can, just as a friend, because I don't know if people followed the situation with Jeremy and his website and whatnot, and that whole debacle that he kind of put out there on 105.7 The Fan. So I was actually involved in some of that.
Wow.
I was in the background helping the guy that screwed him put together. I didn't help the guy screw him. I was helping him put together what they were trying to do. As far as the podcast and their show, because we had been podcasting for a while, I said, "Hey, look, man, I'll just help you set it up. I'm not going to charge anything." And that's what I did. And the guy was kind of like a jerk, and like he was getting a little pushy and whatnot. And so eventually I texted Jeremy. It's like, "Hey, man, I'm going to bow out of this if you don't mind. Like, no hard feelings, but the guy's kind of hard to deal with." And the funny part was he texted back and he's like, "Hey, don't worry about it, man." He's had that kind of interaction with a few people. And then like 2 months later, it all just went down.
Wow.
And I was like, holy crap. And then so I texted Jeremy after that. And I was like, "Hey, man, I still think you got a big future in podcasting whenever you want to start it. And if you do, I'll swing up and I'll get you started." And then I could tell he was really busy. And I was just like, "Hey, look, man, if you just want to jump on with Mike and I and get in when you can," I was like, "We'll do that with you. And we'll just, it'll just be an informal agreement." And so that's how we ended up with Jeremy on our podcast. And it's funny because you get to see a different side of him other than sports. So
Sure.
that was basically the start and the finish. I mean, as to where we are right now. So it's just three guys talking about shit that probably everybody else is talking about in their with their buddies, their living room, their garages, wherever else. It's very similar. And the reason why I reached out to you guys in March was just because I started listening to your show, and I was like, oh shit, this is kind of very similar to what we're doing. They just got an extra guy.
Yeah.
And so I was like, hey, and then I found out you were in Maryland, and we were in Maryland. I was like, hey, so I just reached out, and it was just friendly from there on out, and that's how we ended up interacting with each other.
Yeah, and I just feel like this is something that, I mean, look, I can tell you right now that we're not doing anything monetarily with this podcast, and I just do think it's very therapeutic. If you got some good friends out there, everybody's getting older. I mean, that's why we're the middle class souls. We're just some middle class douchebags who have ideas and opinions and thoughts on things. And what's the point in just leaving them inside our heads when we can just get them out there? People like it, they like it. They don't like it, they don't like it. Move on. But that's awesome that's how that started, because that's this started out with actually Wes and Alan, and they were just talking about the Orioles. And they had me come on. It's like, there's more things to talk about than baseball. We got a lot of stupid things that we can get into. Yeah. So it's a similar origin story.
It was an Orioles podcast that turned into a regional sports that turned into country or global sports. And then I was at a of all places, I was at a Wu-Tang 25-year 36 Chambers commemorative concert, and a good friend of mine who had been on the show to kind of tell his story, he went to the Eagles Super Bowl parade. So he camped out and was there at like 3 a.m. I kind of got him on to tell a story. But he said, I've listened to you guys banter. I've listened to you guys shoot the shit. And I've heard the stories and the crazy shit from your youth up until, your early adulthood. Like, maybe you ought to just get it out. Maybe you're like a songwriter that's you're writing songs for better performance. Think of it like that. And that's kind of how the middle class will spawn. So, no, man, that's interesting. God, Jeremy Kahn, how often does he get on?
So I'm going to say he's on 50% of the episodes now. But there's 1 month where he'll be on all 4, and then he'll be gone for 2 weeks, and then he'll come back on for 2 weeks. Cause the way we do it is we record 2 episodes a night. So we only record twice a month. So if he's on one show, he's staying for the other one.
Good point.
And that was it made it easy for him to do because of that, because he only had to record twice a month. And with him doing the morning show and us recording at night, it was going to be tough if we had to do it 4 times in a month. So it just worked out for him. And then there's times this summer when Mike was on vacation, Jeremy and I just banged him out during the day. It's just it's funny because he's exactly what he is on the radio. He's just a super nice guy. And
well, I do have a Jeremy Kahn story, by the way. It's hilarious because I've had other interactions with him. He doesn't realize this because he has no clue who I am. But when we got a contract with the Ravens to play them on the Eastern Shore, and because of that, we got to go up to Ravens training camp and all that. And Jeremy, I think he was almost still with Scott Garceau, and he was coming in and he was getting, the clips, and he had his whole mic set up, and I had gotten there early, so I got real close, and he kind of just looked at me and went like, okay, and just pushed right in front of me. I was like, okay, I deserve that. but later on, just knowing, getting his personality and being in radio, you got to be pushy. You're doing your job. He's doing his job. I'm trying to get good footage. He's got the flagship station. Excuse me, you're in my way, is essentially what that look was. And he had me. And so please relay that story that some random dude from a satellite radio station got shoved out of the way by him. And I applaud him for it. Well done, sir.
Well, and the funny part of that is, the only reason why I think he even talked to me to help him out at the time was because he and I actually had talked about gambling before that. It was years before that. It wasn't like we were buddies though. We would text maybe once every 3 to 6 months about gambling picks or something like that. And then I kind of it's funny. Mike was like, hey, you've texted him before. Why don't you shoot your shot and see if we can get him on the show? And then we were like, there's no way this dude's going to come on this show. We had barely any listeners at the time. And then I texted Mike. I was like, yeah, he said yes. I was like, so we gotta seem professional here. I mean, we literally joked that we record in my basement, and we do this is my basement.
Yeah.
And to try and get people to come to someone else's basement to do a show is a little awkward.
Yeah.
Right.
And so like the running joke now is that it's not a murder basement and it's not my mom's basement. And so every other show or something, we always kind of mention that. It's just like, the worst part is I think we have to mention that, because if you ask a guest, especially with two dudes, you ask a woman guest to come to your basement, it just doesn't hit the same way as like, it's like, I promise you're not going to get murdered. It's an interview. I promise. So yeah, the only two women we've had on this show, one is a neighbor of ours who knows us, and the other one was Mike's sister-in-law. and we had her on because she was a social worker. And so one of the running episodes that we have is men's mental health, because we figure there's not a lot about that out there. And Mike and I, we're very open about depression and anxiety that we deal with. And then the other one was our weight loss stuff. And so once a month, once every 2 months, we kind of bring those back up again. And so that ends up being like what people come back for, but then they kind of stay for the fun stuff like the aliens and crap like that. So, but like it like when I say it's very similar to your show, like when I listen to your show, I'm laughing probably 75% of the time. And that's what I love about it. Cause I put my earbuds in, I'm going for a walk. I need something to listen to. And so I put you guys in, I put some other podcasts on, and that's what I love about it. It's something that kind of, it's fun. It gets me thinking, and that's why I love your guys' show. So I was excited when you guys actually wrote back. Like whenever I write to someone, I don't think they're going to write me back at all.
Well, I just think we're curious folks. I mean, and I think it's just fun to talk to other people that are just as curious as us about similar things. And I think everybody just kind of wants to pick each other's brain. And I mean, that for me, like you kind of mentioned mental health, I think we all deal with it. And I'm kind of glad that the podcast space has kind of made it, a free-for-all space for everybody to come and kind of just, I don't know. I've got a 10-year-old son, and I've told my best friend this. I'm like, I'm kind of glad that we're growing up in an era. He's going to grow up in an era where this stuff isn't taboo, that we can actually but I think being open is also being open about some of the nonsense that we talk about, is not being afraid to voice your opinion. And I feel like when you talk about things being politicized, I feel like everybody's kind of going back into this shell where they're worried that if they say something that someone disagrees with, it's the end of them, their relationship in some capacity, where it's like, no, let's just talk about it. Because I'm probably not coming from a place of bad faith. I'm coming from a place of maybe ignorance to your side of the coin here. And so, yeah, I think that even when you're talking about aliens, because aliens leads to conspiracy, and conspiracy leads to what's going on, and what are they telling us? What are they not telling us? And it just leads to good, old-fashioned, fun, wholesome conversation at the end of the day. So, yeah, I enjoy this. I'm glad you guys are out there. I'm glad everybody that's doing this is just out there trying to have some fun with it.
We've had exactly one female guest on this show, and it was my then girlfriend, now fiance, and she bought an at-home waxing kit during COVID, and she waxed my nipples on the podcast. So if we were struggling for content, trying to fill some airtime, that was, and we had a hoot with that one. That was good.
You'd have to, if I was in your shoes, you'd have to fill the airtime with something completely different, because I don't even like it. Like when they draw your blood and they put that bandage on your arm there to keep the gauze on there. I don't like ripping that off. Never mind waxing anything on my body. Forget that. I cry when that bandage comes off.
Yeah, one was okay, and she really got into the other one. I think one said a little bit more. And I'm not a hairy guy. I'm not a gorilla man or a carpet sample, but it was certainly enough to kind of like, ee! And then Mur was like, oh God, yeah, look at that, get more, wax him up.
You don't gotta be going. Wax on skin hurts. You don't gotta have any hair there.
Yeah.
I mean, that adds to the pain. Don't get me wrong, but the wax just ripping at your skin that's gonna hurt it regardless.
That's a good point. Yeah, they were. My areolas tripled in size. I mean, it's just from the redness. So, well,
Your nipples enter the room before you do.
Yeah,
Cutting glass with it.
like an old Mimi Miyagi. If you guys are into like late '80s pornography, Alex got it. If you don't mind giving your podcast a plug, let listeners know where they can find you, and then we'll get into friend or foe.
They can just go to drivewaybeerspodcast.com. If they go to the subscribe page, we've got buttons for every podcast and video platform there is. We put it out everywhere, even though we don't do video. Like, this is the first time, if anyone listens to our show, this is the first time they've seen my face.
Wow.
Yeah, we've stayed under that video radar for 3.5 years, mostly because this is what we look like, and we shouldn't be on video. So it's been curated like that for a while because we figured, look, if we can hide this a little bit, maybe people will still listen, and they did. But no, it's we're on YouTube. I think, to be honest with you though, like, I think the most listens or views we got on YouTube is like 150. Meanwhile, like the audio listens are much higher. So it's just like, we put it there for people that like have like YouTube Music.
Right.
Because I guess you have to put it on YouTube for it to be on YouTube Music. We used to put it on Rumble, but Rumble made it a big pain in the butt to even do it. So it's like we let go of that. But yeah, drivewaybeerspodcast.com/subscribe. Click on whatever button you listen on, and we're there.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, you want to get to it, Wes? You ready? I'm going to read a news story to you. We're going to see if you agree or disagree. Alex, we call it friend or foe. And apparently over in Japan, there's a big labor shortage. And because of that, some employers are rebuffing people's resignations. So if they try to resign, they're like, nope, not happening today. So there's a brand new business opportunity happening in Tokyo where Yuta Sakamoto was exhausted from trying to get through his day, worried about what he's going to do for his next gig. So one day he finally mustered his courage and announced that he wanted to quit. But his boss warned him that he would be ruining his future. Then a friend proposed a solution. Sakamoto didn't have to confront his boss ever again. He could hire someone to do it for him. After sending $200, his case and details were all settled through an agency. They quit for him. So, friend or foe, should you have the balls to quit on your own, or foe? No, look, we work in an environment where it's completely toxic. The companies that we work for now are entitled. They have an entire HR department. So you need to defend yourself against these predators. So you should hire someone to do it for you. And by the way, $200 sounds fairly reasonable in my opinion. And since you're our guest, Alex, I'll start with you. Friend, do it yourself. Foe, no, hire someone to do it for you.
Can I fence it somewhere in the middle?
Fence it, justify. You do what you want.
All right.
You can.
Okay, Summer Olympics just have you can fence like the sport if you want to, whatever you want to do.
So, the reason why I say this, if it's me, screw it. If I have a job where I'm going to quit, I'm going to quit, and I'm going to quit in amazing fashion. Like, it's going to be like straight out of Half Baked, where he's at the burger shop and he goes, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. Fuck you when I'm out. That's my way of going out. If I ever was going to quit a job, that's how I do it. Blaze, like, just guns blazing and leave, right? But I get it. There are, on a serious note, I get there are people that aren't confrontational. And in this guy's situation, like, he tried to quit and they said no. So it's like, well, shit, I got to get out of this. So maybe I'm going to hire this guy to get me out of this job. So I see the market there. If one, people are just non-confrontational, or two, you got a boss that's like the girlfriend you're trying to break up with. And she's like, no, this isn't over because I haven't said it's over. Well, fuck, what the hell do you do then? Like, yeah. Because now she might cut your nuts off. Like, she might John Bob at you, right?
Oh, yeah.
So now you're just in a pickle. So I see the need.
Pun intended.
Right. I see the need, but I myself know I wouldn't pay for that.
Wes?
Yeah, this is so anecdotal stuff aside, because like I'm sure you could come up with a 1,000 different stories or 1,000 different, like, this happened to me and therefore I would have. Again, my mind, I can't think of a reason why I would want to pay for someone unless it was just a total shithole of a situation, a bad boss, toxic work environment, someone had fucked me over, or I just flat out was like catfish, which that has happened to me before. I quit a job in 6 weeks on a Friday when I was supposed to show up on the following Monday with the flat out, like, yeah, I'm not going to be back. Like, wait, you mean like 2 weeks? Like, no. Today's my last day. This is it. But the reasonable, rational part of me wants to say, you're as I say, you're a man. We can't say that anymore. You're a human. Go in there, look that boss in the eye, and explain yourself as best as you possibly can. This is the decision I'm making. I owe you nothing. I work, you pay me. That's this relationship. Okay, that's where it begins and ends. All the minutia in between, and all the work happy hours, and the funny stuff that's happened, in between. Okay, that's fine. But I don't know, man. I think that there's some like situations where if the shit has hit the fan, you don't owe them anything. This reminds me of Good Will Hunting when he sends in his negotiator, Ben Affleck, retainer. Maybe it'd be worth it. I'm you suspect. We're not to keep your ears to the grindstone, gentlemen. I do think that this is a valuable service. Whether or not you use it is one thing, but I'm friending it, and actually I'm friending Alex's breakup mediator. Maybe at a reduced rate.
I gotta say, I guess it does depend on the job. One of the greatest quits I've seen in recent years is we had a guy, he wanted the next job up, they wouldn't let him take it, and so he decided to quit, and he came in with a cake, and the cake said, "Sorry about your loss." And I thought that was amazing. So he brought a cake, a nice culinary treat, but on the message was crystal fucking clear, fuck you, I'm out. But if you say work for, some kind of corporate position and you hire this company, as long as they're doing some legwork for you, maybe they can get you a severance package out of the deal that maybe you wouldn't be able to negotiate for yourself. That would obviously be valuable to you. But I remember I gave 2 weeks notice at a radio job one time, and they were like, okay, thank you, but we're done here. And then they tried to get me to sign a non-compete, and I was just like, probably should have fucking maybe tried to sign that before you fucking told me I was on my way out the door. It pissed me off. I was there for 9 years. I didn't get to say goodbye to my audience or anything. And I just wonder if I had maybe even had them as a consultant, how should I handle this situation before I go out the door? Been wildly valuable. And some bosses are complete pricks, which is probably why you're quitting in the first place, and they won't let you do the thing that you've already convinced yourself you're going to do, and they manipulate you into staying that one extra day, give you that one extra project that maybe is valuable to you, and you're just like, okay, well, I guess I'll finish this one out. Before you know it, you've stuck yourself right back in the hole that you were in before. So I like that it's out there, and I like a good grift, and it sounds like whoever came up with this is a very well-versed grifter and has figured out how to make money off of some very sheepish individuals who are too pussified to go and do the job themselves. So for that,
I was going to say,
I salute the foe.
This is certainly targeted towards a hyper passive-aggressive audience. We can agree on that, correct? These are people who
absolutely
probably had a tough time.
I'm going to throw in a little monkey wrench to you for you.
All right.
In this day and age, how many times have you paid someone to do something just because you didn't want to deal with that shit?
And that's fair too.
Like for example, like, look, I can clean my gutters out. It won't take me that long to do, but I just don't want to do it, right? So if someone's got a good enough rate, if they're gonna charge me like $50 to $100 to go clean my gutters out, sure as shit I'm paying them to do it, so I don't have to, right? So even if I am that guy that would go in and tell people to fuck right the fuck off, maybe I don't even feel like driving into the office to do it, but this guy will do it for $100, and he's gonna go quit for me, and I don't gotta do shit. Yeah. That might be worth it, Like there's people pay for convenience all the damn time.
Yeah, there's a guy There's a guy that has a TikTok channel. Then you send him a message and you send him $100, and he'll make the call, and he'll just talk shit to the person on the other end, and just like, who told you to call? Dave did. Well, tell Dave. No, I ain't telling Dave shit. Dave told me to tell you this, and when I'm done telling you this, you can kiss all the assholes in the world. That's the end of the conversation. Well, I don't know. I don't know why. Dave just told me to tell you this. And that's his whole gig. That's his shtick. And it works. And it does. It takes, just like you said, I have 2 vehicles. I used to change the oil in my Jeep. And then I didn't feel like changing the oil in my wife's car. So I was just like, when you go to work, just go to the fucking garage and just have them fucking do it. Because I don't feel like propping up your car and praying that I don't die when my jack fails. So, yeah, you're 100% right. It's a convenience fee. And you know what? We live in a country where we can pay for our conveniences. So I like it.
We got people paying $15 for someone to deliver their frickin' Chick-fil-A. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people will pay for almost everything.
So let me ask you this: in a situation where people say, "Because don't burn a bridge, don't burn a bridge, don't burn a bridge," that's a repetitious, professional piece of advice that people tell you, and I get it. You never know what's going to happen. You never know who knows who, or whether 5 years down the road there might be a situation where this company's merged with another company and you're looking to get hired or whatever. Do you think something like this burns a bridge, or
Yes.
these people are such professionals that they're like, man, that was well
It burns
done.
it.
That burns it. Okay.
You put kerosene on that shit and you lit it aflame.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
didn't just,
They
you
pumped
just
it.
didn't put like a little fire. You
But-
put kindling.
I also don't think this is an era where it matters anymore if a bridge is burned, because I feel like if you go into a job interview and it's like, well, gotta tell you, I talked to your last boss, said he's not gonna hire you back. I'm like, I think your answer should be good, because I never want to work for that son of a bitch ever again anyway. It's why I'm not there. There's a reason he doesn't want to rehire me. Because he's a son of a bitch. And I think you get away with it. I think that's almost a perfectly good answer in this era. We don't live in the Henry Ford era of employment anymore, where I'm going to pay you a living wage and allow you to buy the product that you make. They don't give a shit about you, and we need to stop giving a shit about them. I wish the tables would turn and we could all care about each other again. But until that happens, you don't owe your company diddly dick ever again. Time to move on. Time to move on. I don't even think people should give 2 weeks notice anymore, because if you notice, they don't give you 2 weeks when they're done with you. So why should you give it back to them?
Well, maybe you get another paycheck out of it.
That's about it,
Perhaps
though.
that's
There's
the
that,
leverage.
Depends
Not
on how
like-
nice that paycheck is, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if it's $2,000, I mean, $3,000, $4,000, you could probably eat that for peace of fucking mind.
Yeah, good point. I would like to see if they could somehow, I don't know, where do like a Johnny Knoxville Jackass special where they put the glasses on and they show you how it's done. You get a little bit of I'd like to see some of your work. Like, oh yeah, here's some of our best hits. Like, oh yes, Stacy's done with this company, so no need to contact her. Like, oh my God, look at these guys, fucking professionals. And then again, like you said, I'm still thinking about this breakup thing. Like, let's meet for a happy hour. Like, hi, I'm Josh's representative. I'm sorry. Yeah, listen, you're gonna need a stiff drink. We're gonna go over a few things. He's not coming out.
And that drink's the last stiff thing you're getting for a while. Just letting you know. And I guess the foes technically have it. I mean, Alex on the fence. Wes, you're down with it. I'm down with it. Yeah, hire away to fire away or quit away, whatever you do away.
I think I'm in that same boat. I don't know if I would use it, but I see that it's probably a good service to have. So I think I'm with it.
Shit, we didn't. I don't know if we actually talked. I think we talked about it in passing. There's people who make like $80,000 a year in New York City buying up reservations at and then selling them at a 10% markup. So whether or not
You
this
can make a
is
living
ethical-
doing anything. You got people making a living cuddling with with an adult human being, right? You can make a living doing almost anything.
I
Have you
remember.
heard about that, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah, because I think I saw the same Real Sex episode that you're probably referencing, where there's
Probably,
also there's a balloon room where people get off on popping balloons, and I'm just thinking like, I will hyperventilate for $1,000 an hour to watch you pop some rubber.
The same Real Sex episode. God, that is a throwback there. Woo! All right, Murr,
Then it got weird.
Hopefully, you have some real sex facts in that OMG calendar of yours. Hit us up with some.
Probably not, but let's get to it. 5 fun facts for you fuckers on a Friday. OMG Facts! Brought to you, of course, by our good friend, The Cuckster. You can find The Cuckster on Instagram. That's Cuckster, the number 4, live. Cuckster 4, live on Instagram. What is The Cuckster up to these days, Wesley?
Ooh, the Cuckster just got done, I guess, quasi-threatening the Hawk 2 girl to take her to court. I doubt he has enough scratch to put together lawyer fees or, put a civil suit together. He claims he came up with it first, but in reverse. So the trials and tribulations of said Cuckster. Alex, you familiar with the Cuckster?
Not him. I am familiar, as almost everyone else is, with the Huck Tour girl. And they always say it's not the idea, it's the presentation of it.
Yeah, and she presented very well in that roadway. Man, what? God bless it. You talk about people being able to make money doing anything. This chick said "Huck" into a microphone on the street, and she realizes she's riding out that 15 minutes of fame, and ride it well she has.
Yeah, lubed up with Hawk 2 straight from her.
right.
Good for
gullet.
her.
Yeah.
And
American dream right there.
And also, your Fun Fact Friday being brought to you by the Driveway Beers Podcast. Make sure you check out everything that they have to offer, drivewaybeerspodcast.com. Let's get to it. 5 fun facts for you on a Friday. Did you know humans actually have 9 senses, not 5, including thermoperception, the sense of heat or the absence, on our skin? And again, Alex, these are not always top quality facts. They are just simply facts.
I'm learning something new right now.
Yeah. Did you know you can feel heat?
Probably not, but now I do. I do now.
But wait, no, there's more. You also sense cold. Let's move on quickly. Did you know?
This is the premises of Tremors 2. I'm thinking about it now. The little guys that that comes up and can.
How many Tremors did they make, by the way? Because I know that once Sci-Fi took over, the Sci-Fi Channel, once they stopped doing actual science fiction or science,
I'm gonna look it up. I'll look it up now. I'll be your Jamie from Joe Rogan, and I'll look it up.
Do that.
Yeah.
My dad's favorite movie in the whole world is, in fact, Tremors, which is, I mean, is it more than a cult classic? It's just got to be a classic at this point, right?
I mean, listen.
Where would you rate Tremors?
This was one of the original good bad movies.
Oh my God.
9? Were we at 9?
I mean, so they stopped numbering them after 5,
Okay.
and then they just got names.
Tremors,
I mean,
comma or colon something else.
Yeah, this is wild. I mean, so Tremors 5 was 2015.
Okay.
I see one from 2018, 2020. That seems to be the last one though, 2020. So I'm going to say there's 7.
Okay. All right. 7.
I wonder if this is like I feel like there's some sort of contract agreement with the Pinhead movie where they have to make one every so often in order to maintain the rights to that movie, and then or else it goes out to the open market. I don't know if Tremors is under that realm, but 7 Tremors since Kevin Bacon was doing whoop-de-loos and
Apparently, you can buy the 7 movie collection DVD on Amazon.
I'm gonna get my dad that for Father's Day next year. But
Does he still have the DVD player like my mother?
Yes.
She's still rocking a 5-disc DVD player, and I can't get her to get rid of it.
What's wild is a guy at work bought me the Chris Elliott series, Get a Life. And he got it on DVD. He said he bought it because it was so cheap. And we were talking about it the day before. And I was like, oh, DVD. That's not that old of a technology. And then I came home like, holy shit, I don't have my DVD player anymore. What am I going to do? So I broke out my Xbox 360 from a decade and a half ago. And I'm using it to watch the thing. But yeah, how quickly we've moved on. I mean, CDs aren't a thing anymore. DVDs are done. God forbid
I think the final death knell to the DVD just happened probably about a couple months ago
with the Netflix
when
thing.
Redbox.
Oh,
well, Redbox filed for bankruptcy, so now all those kiosks where the old people went, like my mother, to go get her rented DVDs. Well, she was like, she rented a DVD, and she couldn't return it because the box was turned off. So she's literally texting me asking, well, what do I do with it? Where can I return this Redbox DVD? I said, Ma, you don't have to. Like,
Right.
they're not going to ask for it back. I'm pretty sure that they're going the way of the dodo bird. Just keep that one. It's on them. And so I don't know what she's going to do for movies. Like, I try and give her like I've got like a little collection on a server in my basement, which also sounds shady as shit, that I give her access to. And
That sounds
like,
crazy as shit.
it does, yeah. But then like she's asking my 12-year-old daughter every time she goes over there how to access it. I'm like, Ma, it's an app on your TV. It's right there. It hasn't moved since I put it on a year and a half ago. And so she's like, well, I'll have your daughter tell me how to do it because she's patient with me. I'm like, oh fuck. Okay, fine. I look at my 12-year-old kid with just sadness. I'm like, I'm sorry. You have to deal with your grandmother
Right.
and teach her how to use electronics. I'm so sorry.
You
Yeah,
are
that-
tier 1. You are now tier 1 troubleshooting there, young lady. Good luck.
Exactly.
That's amazing. Because it's actually simpler to operate an app than it is to operate a DVD player. So
Yeah, you would think so.
you'd think
Hey,
so.
Ver.
Yeah.
Real quick. Do you remember what the theme song was to Get a Life with Chris Elliott?
Yes, stand in the place where you are. Yeah, REM. Stand. Great,
Sorry.
dude. Listen,
Okay,
I gotta
of
tell
course
you,
you
if just obviously you guys are just as weird as I am. I do suggest going and watching a few episodes of this because the beauty of Get a Life is Chris Elliott. He simply has one like SNL 5-minute bit he wants to do, and for some reason they sold him an entire half hour, and so the whole like other 15 minutes is crafted around how do I do this one 5-minute bit. And it's just amazing to watch that he fleeced these executives at Fox to give him a whole show to do just one 5-minute bit for 30 minutes.
Well, the way I understood it was that they were just trying to find things to border Married with Children. You had the Tracy Ullman show. You had, I think, George Carlin had a show.
Well, that makes
I think
sense
it was called
because
the George Carlin show.
that makes more sense than the show. I'll tell you that. It's
Okay.
I'll just say this: get really hammered in whatever manner you please, and try to get through a few episodes. It's just a fun journey. Did you know males of some praying mantis species cannot copulate while their head is attached? The female initiates sex by ripping off the male's head. Now, I knew the ripping off of the male's head. I didn't know that the male couldn't get a boner with a head on. So there you are. Nice little circumcision taken a little too far.
So they're impotent while with their heads on. That's the shtick.
I do not know the entire. I don't
anatomy of
understand
a
the
praying
anatomy
mantis?
of a praying mantis, but yeah, apparently they can't do it with the head on.
I heard the same thing you did. Yeah.
Okay.
I interpreted that the same way.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
so I get.
That's scary as hell.
I just don't know how
Glad
it
I'm
like.
not one of them.
I don't know how
Poor
it
chat can't even
translates.
enjoy it, man. Just
I
like,
know,
pop,
right?
And then,
If you want to see something extra wild, what is it? Horsehair parasite. Look that up sometime. Apparently, like 80% of praying mantises have this horsehair parasite, which controls them any which way. And if you dunk them in water, the parasite comes out their ass, and it is a long. I don't even know how this thing is encased inside the body of the mantis itself. It's ultra creepy to know that they're out there. Just roaming the world.
Extra fun fact, that's also one of my nightmares of having a parasite up my ass.
Want an extra nightmare? Just type in bears with parasites. Bears with worms. They get tapeworms and they grow up to 6 feet long, and you'll see them fishing for salmon with fishing line hanging out their asshole. It's
ugh.
the most disturbing.
I am learning so much tonight. This is amazing.
That's what this is all about. You go from mantises to butthole tapeworms and grizzly bears. That's what we do here.
I'm going to create a video with a butthole, bear, tapeworm, fishing for salmon. You know what the song's going to be? Stand by REM. Fucking
Look, you guys got to reclassify this podcast to educational.
Thank you. And you know what? We can put it on TLC the way that fucking channel's run these days. Did you know Frosted Flakes mascot Tony the Tiger has a wife, a son, and a daughter that were used in its first commercials? You got Tony Jr., Antoinette, and I don't know what his wife's name is. It was early on.
And then by year 2, he left the family and kids. He became a deadbeat dad. He took all that cereal money and went away.
Well, if you ask Tony, they weren't that great. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe he was just perhaps living, his bet like as tigers do, mostly in solidarity. He's just like, I'm around year one, and then we get the hell out of here. And I gotta.
He was he was like another tiger we know who stepped out on the wife, and went and banged around with some other European blondes out there.
I'm glad you brought up Tiger. Okay, because I've never really gotten to go outside the sphere on my theory here. When Tiger Woods got caught doing the things he was doing, do you think he should have tried to protect his old image or move forward with a new image, maybe wear Sunday black, grow a beard, and just go into more of like that, like The Rock when he turned heel, and just be like, "Fuck you."
You got
Tiger
at that point.
says,
You got to go full evil. You got to go full evil tiger.
Thank you. I think we would have gotten 5 more championships out of him after that, and he would have just like just straight up going up and making out with the hottest chick on the fairway after every shot. She'd be like, "I'll see you out back."
Dude, but it should have been Shooter McGavin, right? You go out there, you're banging every woman on tour. You're giving finger guns to the crowd. Maybe you should just do a butt funnel at the 18th hole. Whatever. The world's your oyster at that point because everyone already thinks you're a shithole. Lean into that shit. Get that Adam and Eve sponsorship. You know what I'm saying? Like Nike's out. You got to make up that money.
Thank you.
Grab a butthole company or a butt plug company. Everyone knows you're a freak. You've been going to these these sex clubs. Get that money, son. I mean, they're probably dying to sponsor somebody. So I don't know. I think he should have leaned into that.
Just do like that wholesome image.
Yeah.
Remember when he apologized and he was like, was that scripted? Like,
I 100% agree.
I'm sorry. And then she'd be like, I ain't fucking sorry. Shit, I did. I'm divorced now. Whole new me, whole new tiger.
Yep.
I'm roaring. I ain't purring. Motherfuckers, fuck you.
What did apologizing
Thank
get
you.
him? 3 years of people forgot about him for 3 years. He got a broken leg and some shit. He ended up driving a Hyundai. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with a Hyundai, but he's Tiger Woods. He shouldn't be driving the Hyundai. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look, I get it. I mean, shoot, I drive a Hyundai. I used to. But I'm not Tiger Woods and don't have that Tiger Woods money. So, I mean, he must have fallen really far to be knocking out that Genesis G70 or whatever it was.
It's a Lincoln.
I don't know.
Right? Was he doing? It wasn't Lincoln. Hold on. It was who the hell was he sponsored by when he flew over those hills in California?
He was driving a Genesis.
Was it? Okay.
That was his sponsorship at the time. But honest to God, though, when he did those commercials, I honestly thought it was like Shaq, pushing those Buicks that he didn't fit into. I was like, there's no shot Shaq has a Buick.
Was it Buick?
Right? Meanwhile, remember Shaq was pushing Buicks for a while, and they did a commercial with him in a Buick Lucerne that he didn't fit into. It was like they had to specially cut away parts of the Lucerne so he would fit in it, and they could shoot the commercial. And everyone know Shaq wasn't driving a Buick. I'm sorry.
Hello, I'm Shaquille O'Neal. I'm 7'1" center from four NBA championships, and I love this Buick. Thing's amazing. Got
I have to drive it from the back seat.
So much leg room that even a man like myself could drive.
Well, that's what he
Watch,
does.
these
When
airbags
he
are
gets his
amazing.
cars, he gets his cars retrofit He removes the back seat on the driver's side, and they slide it back for him. In fact, you should look this up. He just got himself a Cybertruck, like decked out. Just he got it widened.
Nah.
Oh, dude. And by the way, he bought 2 of them because he loves it so much that he doesn't want to have just one on the East Coast, and he has one on the West Coast now too.
And
So
his
he has the
big
same
ass doesn't
truck.
fit in that shit either. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
The only car he
pretty
fits
sweet.
into is an Escalade ESV. That's it. Or a Hummer or something. That dude doesn't fit into anything.
I've often
71380.
I've often wondered, like, what would happen if Jack and I somehow got into an altercation? Like, how quickly all right, just to give you an idea, I'm about 5'6", 130 pounds. And this is a human being that's literally double me in all sizes, ways, shapes, and form. It's just, I mean, that guy could do anything he wanted to me. He'd give me the dig
Nah, I
special if
got
he
the
wanted.
strategy. No, here's the strategy. You got to go cartoon style on him. You got to take the string, and you got to run between his legs and around his legs, and just keep wrapping him up, and then you pull the string, and he falls down like a big old giant. That's your strategy right there.
Straight up Empire Strikes Back style.
Exactly. That's
with
exactly what I was
with
thinking.
the X-wing. Yeah.
Well, when I
100%.
find a 20-foot rope in my ass to run around him, that's I gotta
Use the
catch him.
parasite that's in your ass.
Exactly.
Get that tapeworm
Grizzly
out there.
tapeworm. That's all I need. Problem solved.
I see. By the way, what I was going to say when we talk about Tiger, in my humble opinion, a lot of his problems came when he bulked up. When he got way too in. Okay, I'm not saying he got way too into fitness. He got way too into getting bigger. When he was lean, cut, and elastic as fuck, he did not have back problems. He didn't have knee problems, and he didn't have whatever. He didn't have these health problems that were failing him. Not
but
saying
in
that
that-
would alleviated all of it, but
But isn't that a part of divorce revenge where he's like, all right, I'll show you, bitch. Watch this. I'm gonna start benching 350.
yeah. And he also
He didn't need to do that. He's Tiger Woods.
He was doing like Navy SEAL training too, which was really obscure in the middle of the golf season. But again, I don't know. I didn't win 13 majors and had made near $1 billion.
Well-
And I've never. I mean, I have a woman upstairs that I'm marrying in about 3 months. She doesn't look like Elon did. So there's that.
Well, like, bottom
You
line
might,
is,
you might want to
Rocco-
edit that part out.
She looks better. Way
You
better.
ain't married yet. You might want to edit that out so you can actually get to the altar. All right.
So much hotter. So much hotter.
There you go. There you go. I was just like, I've been married for about 18 years, so just sometimes you got to cut some stuff out.
Gotcha.
Like
Gotcha.
my wife used to listen to our podcast, and then some shit got said, and now she doesn't listen anymore. She's choosing to ignore it on purpose. So
Okay.
I'm just saying, sometimes you got to go around the topic.
Gotcha.
I
Go ahead, Murr.
I had a 15-year radio career. She listened to 0% of it. So I don't even worry about
That's
her
the best
fucking
way.
downloading this app.
Yeah, I will be 42 when it happens, and this will be my first. So we'll see. We'll see how things go.
Well, you know what? You're going to be old enough that it'll probably be your last. So congratulations.
that's a good point. It's a good point. I'm happy. So
Did you know the temperature of milk inside a cow is 101 degrees Fahrenheit?
That doesn't surprise me.
101. What about
Think
when
about
it
it.
comes out of the teeth?
We're cooking at about what 90. What are we at? 80. What's the internal body temperature for human? 80.
We're about
87?
99. 90 was it 98.6?
98.
is,
98.6. That's the one. That's the one for the science class kids. 98.6. So if a cow's running at like 101, I could see that. That's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay. But
Well,
that's the first
that-
believable thing that's been read right tonight. I'm just saying.
You're welcome. But see, that's why you can take the milk straight out the teat, but like once you let it cool down, all that shit starts to build up, and then you got the raw milk freaks out there catching fucking listeria and shit. The best thing I've ever seen with a cow is we went to an Amish farm, and my kid William was like 6 at the time, I think, and he goes, "Can I milk him?" And like the little Amish girl's like, "Fuck, yeah, why not?" Because it's not weird for them. And he just straight right in the mouth. And I was like, that fucking
Oh,
And I tried it too, man. It was amazing. It's got everything, man. It's got the fat, it's got the cream, everything, just all in one shot. Get yourself a good old fucking teat shot. That's all you need in life.
And you were like, 99 degrees. This cow's sick. Ugh. Yucky.
Because you can feel temperature, as
That's
we learned
right.
in the previous fact.
Your ninth sense.
Well, you've learned this game quickly, sir. And finally, did you know it takes somewhere between 144 and 411 licks to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
Calling bullshit.
Well,
Calling bullshit
I'm
right
call-
now. We
well,
know
I'm
from the
calling
commercial, the owl said it's 3.
That 3, yeah, but that owl was such a dick. That owl was a fucking
was.
asshole. He stole a kid's fucking lollipop. He's like, 1, 3. The answer is 3.
Yeah.
This fucking
I think he's a
asshole
cat.
beat.
Yeah, he was a cast off of Fraggle Rock. He didn't make the cut there. Then they put him in some 2-bit fucking commercial. He was all pissed off about that too. It's like, all right, I'm ad-libbing this one. I'm an actor. I'm talent. I'm the talent. 3.
But does he get bonus points? Because, like we said about the Haktua girl, it's about the presentation, not necessarily about the fact.
That's a good point. Yeah. Shit.
But still, complete asshole. He uses his fucking bird beak to bite through the fuck. That's not licking though. That's my point here.
That's true.
So, but
true.
there's a large disparity
144
here.
to 411, you said?
Yeah, that's a big disparity there. And also, I have another question. Is that just simply to lick through one spot, or is that to encompass the entire candy coating? Because to me, that's a whole different scenario. If you're going like, you're doing the old like, I don't know enough porn star names, unfortunately, but if you're just twirling that fucker around your tongue, to me, that's going to take a while. It's going to take more than 411.
I feel you can clip that right there, and now you're on a different podcast. You're on Call Her Daddy with that little description you put on right there.
Call me daddy,
only
unfortunately.
By the way, that's only the number 3 podcast in this country.
That's true.
Oh, really?
I think it's Rogan. I forgot who number 2 is, and then it's like Call Her Daddy, and then like the stupid Kelsey brothers got on like number 4. They decided to podcast for 2.5 weeks, and they became number 4 because they got backing from somebody.
Well, they got backing from the Taylor Swift fans. All the Swifties out there are just like, I'm going to listen to Taylor's boyfriend, see what he has to say. And hey, man, I don't hate on anybody who becomes successful and I just so happen to those guys are so goddamn likable.
No, I'm sorry. B-Rad is not likable. I'm sorry. Fucking white boy Rick is not likable.
Travis is not as likable as his brother. That's for damn sure.
Jason's likable. Travis is a douche, especially like. And you're not going to tell any Ravens fan that dude's likable after he kicked Justin Tucker's helmet on the goal line there.
That's a good point.
Fuck that guy.
You know what, though? As far as gamesmanship's concerned, I'm a Ravens fan. I was like, man, I do the same fucking thing. I always try to put on the other hat to see, like, would I do that shit? I'm like, yeah, I'd fucking do that shit. I can't hate him for that.
It's not just that. It's like his haircut, the facial, everything about that dude literally makes me want to just say, you know what? If I had the ability, I'd probably kick him in the face.
Yeah.
For no reason whatsoever. Just because of the way he looks. He just aggravates me by being. Right?
And if you kick him 114 times, you might get to his heart.
And we now know that because of the fun fact.
That's
and
right.
That is why we do it. And that, my friends, is officially your Fun Fact Friday.
Shit.
That was awesome.
52 minutes in. Alex, well, I got to say, man, listen, open door. Don't be a stranger. You're welcome back anytime. If Fun Fact Friday, and then whether or not you would hire someone to quit for you didn't tickle your fancy, but there's more where that came from. I'll tell you that.
And same with you guys. If you guys want to come on down, we can do it. You can either come to the murder basement. That's not a murder basement, or we can do it over. We do ours over, I think, Zoom or something. We haven't done it in a while, but we'll figure it out.
I tell you,
you don't even get dressed up. We're audio only.
The murder basement sounds pretty intriguing. Can I tell you? As long as I can go first. As long as I get to go first.
Yeah, I mean, I
There's
want
a
to
lot of
see.
booze down here. At least we'll booze you up before it becomes murderous.
Look, everything about what we're doing here, I am down for. So if there's, I will enter a murder basement. Because I like to challenge things. Will I get murdered? Won't I get murdered? I want to know. I'm curious.
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate it as always. And like I said, you're welcome back anytime. Thank you for hopping on tonight.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, yeah, man, that was fun.
Dude,
Shit,
any
I
fucking
tell you,
time,
kudos
seriously,
to you.
man.
Like a warm, creamy chutney. Get ready for another spoonful of the middle class holes.
Welcome back to the Middle Class Holes, Foxman Murr. Thank you, Alex, from the Driveway Peers podcast. Appreciate the plugs. Look forward to having you on the podcast more, Murr. We're in
Fuck
agreement.
yeah, dude.
These-
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I wish anybody could hear, like, you know, the stuff we talked about that wasn't on the podcast, because that was fucking
Yeah.
grade A shit too. No, huge thanks to Alex, and you know, that's a character right there. And
Yeah.
you know what's funny? It's kind of wild that that's the first time he's been on camera for a podcast, and we're the ones to fucking debut the drunken uncle on the Middle Class Holes.
That's right. Just, well, we were nervous about getting on doing video for podcast because me and Mike aren't. Well, it's like, all right, here it is, buddy. Rock and roll. I don't. Okay, hold on. How do we do this? Where can you find the Middle Class Holes?
Listen, you can find the Middle Class Holes on all your major social media platforms. That includes TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, now known as X. You can also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Essentially, go anywhere that you would like to find any kind of content at all and type in the Middle Class Holes, and you will, in fact, find us on YouTube as well. 600 followers now. Thank you so much
right.
to everybody. We're getting closer to that big monetization zone that we need to be in. And again, we appreciate everybody who fucking participates in the shit show that we pull off for you every week.
A couple. Actually, we're going to focus on one video for listener comments. This was Digital Blackface. This was on YouTube, which we explained 600 followers. Laughing Orange writes, I like this. If you believe this is a problem, you're not allowed to wear a Viking helmet unless you have a citizenship in a Nordic country. And Finland doesn't count because they weren't Vikings.
By the way, Digital Blackface is where apparently white folk aren't allowed to share memes or GIFs or anything of that nature that feature black people, because that is some kind of a mockery in the DEI space, if you will. And yeah, I mean, you can go through the litany of things. Like, aren't white people mocked fairly regularly as well?
Well,
Like-
that's the point. I mean, we should be, at least according to what I know.
100% agree. Look at my mustache. I should be mocked for this. I understand.
Mm-hmm.
If I did this, and you could fucking GIF it, so it looped. Like, that's a thing. Use it. I don't give a shit what
This-
you use it for.
The search for that is goofy white guy. And
Yeah,
bam,
goofy white-
there it is.
Yeah, there you go. Here you go. White guy in the school pickup line. Hey, Gail. How you doing today?
It'd be
Finger
you,
gun.
and then it would be Pee Wee from Pee Wee's Big Top doing tequila at a bar. At Nico Demas 52 writes, I'll go a step further. Trying to look black is not blackface. Blackface is something very different. I don't care who says different. It is what it is.
Explain that to me.
Well, I think basically it's just trying to like put in the fact that like you're going to try to pigeonhole what you're describing to me as digital blackface. Therefore, I'm going to use a definition that doesn't coincide with what you're talking about. Therefore, I can do what I want to do.
Okay.
I'd go a step further. Trying to look black is not blackface. Blackface is something very different. I don't care who says different. It is what it is.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Because blackface is like
Yeah,
a
we can agree.
stereotype.
Blackface is something that shouldn't be done anymore.
Well, in all honesty, blackface, what blackface is, it's a stereotype that really never was. It was a
Yeah.
blackface was a stereotype that wasn't true. Like, did African Americans in a certain period in this time have a quote unquote accent that was unique? Yes. Was that their fault? No. But white people like perpetuated a stereotype that wasn't even true. Therefore, the whole blackface ensemble, whatever you want to call it, was just a complete fallacy. It wasn't even a thing. It's just white people use it to mock. Anyway, so what I'm saying is like blackface is a complete, like, it is totally reprehensible. What people are
Right.
doing when they share memes is finding the best visual representation of their emotional status at that time to convey
Correct.
a message, period.
Yeah. And we even said it last time. We said there are instances where you're trying to convey this emotion, and African Americans do it better.
Yes.
I could scour the gift gamut. I could go hours, and I'm not going to find a Caucasian that's going to represent what I'm trying to say better than that.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. Black people do side-eye better than white people. 100%.
Oh, the old like, yeah. Yeah.
They do. 100%. So if I'm going to go side-eye on a GIF that I'm going to send back to you, it's going to be like, I don't know, who's the guy from, who's like the heavy, Anthony Anderson. I'm going to find Anthony Anderson giving me side-eye. Because it's better than
Yeah.
anything else I'm going to find.
White guys do white guys good. That's it.
White guys do lame better than anybody.
It's right. If I die, bro. I'm gonna live the way I want to live, no matter what. And then finally, Mr. Road Dog 420, Mr. Lock Dog, writes, "What you talking about, Willis?" Question mark. Which I thought was a pretty good way to, because you're not gonna get that anywhere else, right? That's
No.
that's not digital blackfacing.
No, that's not digital blackfacing. I mean, Gary Coleman, look. Gary Coleman asked a very poignant question every episode of Give Me a Break. What you talking about? You are being a fool. What you talking about, Willis? What are you talking about? Because what you're saying is absolute nonsense. And there's nobody in the fucking history of the human race that summed it up better than fucking Gary Coleman. Period.
Bam.
I feel like I put period on everything that I've wanted to punctuate, which is a very lame white guy thing to do. So if you want to find this and make this a GIF,
Period.
then you digital white face me all day. I'll thank you for it.
I mean, think about like Mr. T in the A-Team.
What, pitying fools or what?
Any GIF of that. You know what I mean? Is that digital blackfacing?
Well, give me I mean, you gotta give me no, there's nothing that Mr. T did that was lame or derogatory. Everything Mr. T did was fucking cool. Mr. T is responsible for elevating white people's perception of African Americans in this country, I'm going to say by a minimum of 30%.
Minimum? I mean, it's going to be tough to quantify, but that's fine. I'll take your word for that. Yeah.
I mean, like, look, if you're a hardcore racist in America in 1985 and you see Mr.
Okay.
T doing badass Mr. T shit, I'm saying
Right.
your racism quotient diminishes by 30% minimum.
And then, listen, couple that with Rocky 3, when not Rocky 1 or 2, when he fights Apollo. but in Rocky 3 when Apollo trains him, and you're like, you know what? God damn.
Dude, you're doubling up on
TBS just TBS just made me a better person.
I mean, look, you're like doubling up here because now you're taking Carl Weathers and you're like, fuck, man. Like, all right, I'm a hardcore racist. I'm just saying, like, let's not literally. I'm just saying in this
Archie
exercise.
Bunker is my fucking hero. Okay.
So I'm a hardcore racist, and again, it's the mid 1980s, and I'm looking at fucking like this poor white guy who has no flair, no fucking skills. He's just hard nosed. He could take a punch like nobody else, and he can fucking throw a concrete fist at somebody's face. But he's got no way of fucking finessing. And man, hey, look, my black brother comes in, and he teaches me how to finesse. Like now my racial quotient, that's another 30%. And now he's going up against the most badass motherfucker. I can't deny the badassity of Mr. T, of Clubber Lang in Rocky 3.
Yeah.
We're talking about a 60% decrease in racism based on those two fictional characters alone who were made by real fucking people.
Right.
I'm just saying the digital blackfacing that occurred in that one film saved America.
And then the problem was, I mean, dependent upon the anecdotal evidence that does or doesn't exist, when then Rocky 3 ended, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then they cut to a track meet and they see Carl Lewis, and then someone's like, yeah, he's homosexual. So it's minus 5%.
Now I'm confused.
Well,
That was a
bigots. It's just bigotry. That's all.
Well, no. But wait, hold on. I'm gonna pull on your thread here. Okay, I will pull on your thread like a tapeworm.
I don't know if Carl Lewis was a homosexual. Okay, I'm just going to say that.
I'm pretty sure. You know. I mean, like, look, there's people in the world. It's fine. But if that's the case and people perceive him that way, okay, then you're looking at an American who stepped onto a world stage and then jumped really fucking far and ran really fucking fast, and you were really, really proud of him as an American. And here's the thing. As far as racists are concerned, their Americanism trumps their racism. So I give Carl Lewis a 20%. So now we're in the mid-'80s, and we've reduced racism by 80%.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Now, look, we're never gonna get to 100 here. All right. We're never.
No.
Ever.
80. Christ, you're in the Hall of Fame of anything.
So if I've got a GIF of Carl Lewis racing Sylvester Stallone across a beach to fight Clubber Lang, to dance with Carl Weathers in the surf.
He punches Clubber Lang at the finish line with Adrian like, come on! And then
celebrates with Carl Weathers in the most homoerotic fashion possible in the fucking
with the fake
surf.
hand in a putter, like, yay! Well, that wasn't by the 80s. Damn it.
Well, yeah,
Gotta
but
think of
now
something else.
we're bleeding into the 90s where Tiger Woods comes out with a fucking fake hand and a putter in his hand. It's like, is this yours? And says 90% reduced racism.
Damn,
That's where we are now.
We should. Do you think we could create it or pitch a curriculum for a college class?
I think if we went to the right conservative group and said, I've got the anti-DEI curriculum for you. This is the and Fred McGriff pitches it. I've got the anti-DEI curriculum for you. Then I think we fucking solved 98% of racism in America.
Listen, I've listened to Andrew and Wes talk about Carl Weathers, Clubber Lang. This is bad. We're fucked. Okay.
This is the anti-DEI critique for you.
Shit.
Sponsored by
Christ.
Tom
All right.
Amansky.
Tom, then it's Carl Weathers hitting balls off a tee.
A golf tee.
We have derailed. We have derailed. God damn! Why couldn't anyone died this week? We could have ended the show by paying a shitty tribute to you. All right, Alan, you need to get back here. You really sum these things up pretty well. Once me and Murray get all drunk and start yapping to each other, we know how to finish it out. All right, folks. Hope you enjoyed. Thank Alex from the Driveway Beers podcast. You're welcome back anytime. Take her easy, kids. We'll see you again.